But I was like more nervous when I was trying on the lingerie that I wasn't sexy enough, or I wasn't good enough, or my body wasn't good enough, or I just wasn't good, and they would reject me somehow.
Sure.
I wasn't looking at the fact that I was kind of being used as a little show thing, a show pony thing.
What made you want to write this book and kind of put it all out there?
You know, I know that I have a story that nobody else has. And, you know, I'm not saying that in such a, you know, braggy way, but it really is a story nobody has about being, you know, a young Disney star and coming from such a famous show and working in Hollywood. And then, you know, decades later, really at 40, making it as a top porn star, winning numerous awards, making better money than ever, and like having more respectability and success. Like I get, you know, in Hollywood that totally would disregard me after, you know, I did famous shows and you know, and White Chicks and everything was still, they typecast me and put me into this box and like wanted just to put me in the attic to die.
Right.
And so, yeah, so that's how it felt. It was like, oh, we liked you in the past, but you know, no, not anymore, but we still want you to be there to like as Christmas ornaments that we might bring out once in a while, such as like when Girl Meets World is bring back people for the guest spots, which I was, you know, it was. So anyway, back to the thing where, why did I write the book? I love writing. I've studied writing. It's in my heart. I did screenwriting at UCLA for 2 years. So I was like, I really do want to write my story. I didn't think it was going to happen as quickly as it did. I thought probably I would start, I don't know, now or something. But I was on a podcast and I was talking about how I love writing and I really want to tell my story. And I really think it would be empowering to everyone, and especially women too, who have been told no so much in their lives and they can't do something. And you know, because I was told, you know, I couldn't do anything sexy that I wanted to do unless I was 25, right, and told to give up by publicists and Disney and all those people that, you know, worked in Girl Meets World and the production and everything. So I did want to tell my story, but I was on a podcast and an agent heard me talking about it. And she said, you know, this is a great story. Let's, you know, do a proposal and sell this. And it happened so fast. I got the deal so fast from Simon & Schuster. But that was back in March of 2021. So this has been a long process. I had to start writing the book, and that took about 4 or 5 months, just initially, just to really go back in your history. And it's a very cathartic, great experience, but it's like looking back at yourself, at like who you were then, especially decades ago, like when I was starting out in the business and the Boy Meets World years and stuff. And I really re-examined so much that I didn't even notice in the past. And now I'm like, oh my God, that was what was happening. Like,
sure. I mean, going back and like you said, kind of like opening up Pandora's box a little bit and re-examining things, what were some of the things that surprised you the most when you kind of went back? I know for me, when you wrote about like producers like asking you to like wear lingerie on Boy Meets World, I mean, that must have been kind of eye-opening. It was eye-opening me and like a little problematic, don't you think?
Yeah, that totally is. Looking back now, I'm like, that is so problematic. But at the time, I thought it was just my job to do it. And if I was uncomfortable or anything, or I was very uncomfortable with my body, I was actually more worried when I was trying on lingerie for the producers I don't know why they had to see all of these lingerie items. I mean, this was especially for the episode where I wore the little purple lingerie and I danced around in the kitchen to, you know, the whole thing, the boys and everything watching. And they were gawking at me at the time and stuff. But I was like more nervous when I was trying on the lingerie that I wasn't sexy enough, or I wasn't good enough, or my body wasn't good enough, or I just wasn't good, and they would reject me somehow. Sure. I wasn't looking at the fact that I was kind of being used as a little show thing, a show pony thing. So, I mean, yeah, so that was very eye-opening. It was eye-opening to me how much like sexual innuendo was on my character. And, you know, like the boys, like Corey and Sean, like were total boys to me. They stole my parking space that I had worked for, and then they blame me, and they like this whole prank war, you know, breaks out. And then they're going through my lingerie. They read my diary, and then they're just like, "Oh, we're cute." And then the girls even defend them. It was just really weird. Like I was thinking when we had the food fight. I mean, it was very. I had my feet on, Will's face. And we were like, not that the guys in the scene were doing anything, but I'm saying somebody who wrote it or whatever had, I think they have a foot fetish and food fetish, which is nothing's wrong with that, but I was not a part of that joke or that. Like if I was doing it now, I'd be fine with it. But
sure.
If I knew what the up and up, if I knew what was going on.
Yeah. So there's definitely probably some storylines that you look back at now that like totally make you cringe.
Yes. I mean, even like storylines that weren't mine. Now they brought up how Danielle, she talked about it on the podcast about like her weight and she was gorgeous, but it was just like cringy things that might not happen now. I can't imagine anyone thinking it would be okay to like go through panties and read a diary and like, oh, it's just the cute boys there, And it was like kind of like I was the butt of sexual jokes that I didn't know. Like, if, like I said, if I had been like totally a part of it and we were like planning to, together, but I was just told to do these things. And then like the first year, I think it was more fun because even the sexual kind of things I did with the guys in the apartment, they were falling all over themselves to impress me and stuff. But the next year, that last year, that was the weird one. That was when, when Corey and Sean kind of became the boys to me.
Right.
And I became too annoying to myself. Like I became like, I didn't like that my character really had nothing to do except be bitchy or snarky or be sexy or, it was kind of, I don't know. I think it was because it's just, that was a weird time.
Sure. I mean, did playing that character at all ever make you insecure? It's like you said, when you were trying on like the lingerie, like you didn't feel sexy enough, but like, kind of having to deal with these situations on camera, did that do anything to you personally?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole thing, not just Boy Meets World, but like Hollywood in general. I was always like trying to play catch up with myself. Like I never thought I was good enough or looked good enough. Or, I mean, I look back at myself, I was a teeny, like I was skinny and I felt like, oh my God, I'm so gross. And that was a weird time because it was in the 2000s. It was like that time of, Britney and Jessica Simpson and stuff. You needed to be this virginal girl, but also very sexy. So I felt my character was kind of walking those lines, like in my real life, you better be, walk the straight and narrow and like be chaste and be good. But on screen, it was okay to be, more sexy and everything. I mean, think about what Corey and Sean did too. They stole my nudie pictures that I took from my boyfriend and put it in the student union. But that funny thing was that actually was considered like that was a crime that they did that on the show. Like everybody's like, ooh, you did that. But I got a bear and tried to kill them. So it was kind of a weird thing that sex was worse than killing your friends with a bear.
Right. For more news content and exclusive interviews,